my dear Miss Elizabeth, permit me to show you some of the priceless art treasures of Lady Catherine's. This is one of the finest timepieces in the country. Observe the noble proportions, Miss Eliza. And the ornaments. What magnificence, what taste.
Very true, Mr. Collins, very true. I've never met a painter or an architect who did not congratulate me upon my taste.
There. What did I say? Now, let me call your attention to the mantelpiece. Observe, Miss Eliza. Solid marble, entirely hand-carved.
Well, Mrs. Collins, you will be surprised to find someone you know dining with us this evening. Oh, there you are. I was just about to tell the ladies, Darcy, of your sudden arrival at Rosings this afternoon.
Mr. Darcy.
Miss Elizabeth. A happy meeting, Miss Elizabeth.
Mrs. Collins, you know one of my nephews, I believe? Darcy. Darcy.
A pleasure, Mrs. Collins.
And this is another nephew, Colonel Fitzwilliam, Mrs. Collins. Miss Elizabeth Bennet, Colonel Fitzwilliam. Oh, yes. And Mr. Collins. Mr. Collins.
How do you do?
I thought you were in London, Mr. Darcy.
Oh, yes, but my cousin and I left there this morning. Rather unexpectedly, as a matter of fact.
All your departures seem to be rather unexpected, Mr. Darcy.
You know, Miss Elizabeth, I have thought a great deal of what you said to me at Netherfield that day. Thank you. About laughing more. I've tried to follow your advice.
I hope it worked. Do you feel happier now?
I've never felt more miserable in my life.
It's doubtless the lack of exercise. You'll feel happier when the hunting season begins.
Well, Darcy, now I know what took you into Hertfordshire this summer.
You also know what drove him out again. He liked the landscape well enough, but the natives, Colonel Fitzwilliam, the natives. What boors, what savages. Utterly insupportable. Isn't that so, Mr. Darcy?
It evidently amuses you to think so, Miss Elizabeth.
Miss Bennet, come here. Mrs. Collins, go and talk to your husband. I wish to speak to Miss Bennet.
Yes, Lady Catherine.
Be seated. Have you any accomplishments, Miss Bennet?
Accomplishments? Well, I don't know whether Mr. Darcy would think I had.
Do you sing and play?
A little.
You shall perform for us one day. Our instrument here is one of the best in the country. You have several sisters, I understand.
4.
4. No brothers?
None, unfortunately for us.
Ah, yes. Your father's estate is entailed to Mr. Collins, I believe.
It is.
For Mrs. Collins' sake, I'm glad of it. Otherwise, I see no occasion for entailing estates away from the female line. When you marry, Darcy, don't make that mistake. It was never made in Sir Louis de Bourgh's family. Anne, as you know, is the sole heiress. Do you draw, Miss Bennet?
No, Lady Catherine.
What? None of you?
Not one of us.
But how strange. Why didn't your governess see to that?
We never had a governess.
No governess? I never heard of such a thing.
Miss Bennet seems to have got on very well without one, Aunt Catherine.
Don't talk nonsense, Darcy. Are any of your younger sisters out in society?
All of them.
All? Oh, very odd.
Really, Lady Catherine, I think it would be very hard on younger sisters to be kept without society or amusement until the elder ones were married. It would hardly promote sisterly affection or even delicacy of mind.
Upon my word, Miss Bennet, you express your opinions very decidedly.
Miss Bennet is nothing if not decided, Aunt Catherine.
Dinner is served, milady.
Come, I hate cold soup. Your arm, Fitzwilliam.
May I be allowed to continue your interrogation during dinner? There are so many things I should like to find out.
It seems to be a family failing, sir.
No, Darcy, you are to take Anne into dinner. Mr. Collins will take Miss Bennet. I'm afraid you'll have to go in alone, Mrs. Collins.
Cara zia.
Colonnello, vi siete fatto attendere.
Perdonatemi, cara zia, ma ho voluto togliermi di dosso la polvere del viaggio prima di rendere omaggio a una bella donna come voi.
Non dite sciocchezze appena arrivato. E sedetevi.
Grazie.
Anzi no, restate in piedi e datemi il braccio. Voglio un po' vedere che cosa mi stanno combinando di là. Mi hanno detto che siete giunto solo. Io attendevo anche vostro cugino Darcy.
Sì. Abbiamo fatto il viaggio insieme fino a Longbourn, sì. E poi là egli mi ha detto di proseguire, forse aveva qualche affare da sbrigare, ma naturalmente sarà qui per l'ora di pranzo.
Il solito maleducato. Speriamo che arrivi in tempo perché abbiamo ospiti stasera.
Ah, interessante.
No, non vi emozionate, non è il caso. Proprio niente di interessante. Il pastore della mia parrocchia è un autentico imbecille, ha dei parenti in casa e io sono curiosa di vedere che razza di gente è. Voi vi metterete lì.
Sì.
Darcy qui, se verrà. E qui la mia Annie. Il pastore lo metteremo laggiù a capotavola. Forse per l'emozione mangerà un po' meno. Sentite, colonnello.
Sì?
Io voglio chiedervi una cosa e vi ordino di rispondere con la franchezza che non vi è abituale.
Sì, mio generale.
Siate serio. Non abusate della simpatia che ho per voi. Voi state sempre con lui, quindi dovreste saperlo. Dite un po', Darcy non ha per caso qualche...
Ah, ho capito, voi volete da me il solito rapporto. Ebbene, mio generale, novità NN. Io posso garantirvi sul mio onore che nessuna fanciulla occupa i pensieri del vostro bene amato nipote Darcy.
Bene, meglio così. Del resto, se fosse altrimenti, ci penserei ben io a distruggerli.
Il pastore Collins.
Eccoli. Sarà una serata noiosissima, colonnello, ve l'assicuro.
Bene, mamma?
Bene, cara.
Un'esecuzione perfetta. Non trovo un aggettivo migliore. Perfetta.
Sedete e tacete. Conoscevate questo pezzo, signorina Bennet?
Sì, signora. L'ho suonato io stessa più volte qualche anno fa.
Ah, perché poi voi avete smesso di suonare? Di studiare?
Perché sono andata avanti.
Ah. Quanti anni avete, signorina?
Con 3 sorelle già grandi non sono troppo disposta a confessarlo.
Siete tanto giovane che non avete nessun bisogno di nascondere l'età. E le vostre sorelle studiano il cembalo anche loro?
Sì, una soltanto e non molto bene, a dire il vero, come tutti i dilettanti del resto.
Oh, male. Tutte avreste dovuto studiare musica. Le signorine Webb sono 5 e studiano tutte e 5.
Sì, è vero, le conosco. Ottime parrocchiane.
Zitto. Eppure il signor Webb ha una rendita che presto a poco deve essere quella di vostro padre. Studierete almeno il disegno?
No, per nulla.
No? Vabbè, molto strano. Già, forse non avrete avuto la possibilità di... Avrebbero dovuto accompagnarvi a Londra per farvi istruire un po'. Ci sono degli ottimi maestri a Londra.
La mamma non avrebbe chiesto di meglio, ma il babbo non può soffrire l'aria di città e...
La vostra istitutrice?
Istitutrice? Non l'abbiamo mai avuta.
Come? Niente istitutrice? Ma com'è possibile? Io non ho mai sentito una cosa simile.
Sapeste, Lady Caterina, quante volte io l'ho consigliato al caro Bennet, ma non mi ha mai dato ascolto.
Signora Collins, se avrete dei figli prenderete subito un'istitutrice,
Oh,
vero?
sì, signora, sicuro, subito.
E li manderemo a Londra a studiare disegno.
Non vedo come tutto questo sia indispensabile. Le mie sorelle ed io abbiamo avuto tutti i maestri che sono stati necessari e chi di noi ha voluto istruirsi seriamente ha potuto farlo benissimo. E molto più simpaticamente, senza imposizioni.
Mi meraviglia molto questa vostra anarchia familiare. Io ritengo che per l'istruzione sia assolutamente necessario un insegnamento sistematico e regolare.
Certo, certo.
Ah, giusto, giustissimo.
Zitto. E forse qualcuna delle vostre sorelle minori va già in società?
Sì, signora, tutte e tre.
Tutte e tre? Oh, stranissimo. Le minori vanno in società prima che la maggiore sia sposata.
Ma è ben triste per delle sorelle minori non partecipare a balli o a ricevimenti solo perché la maggiore non ha l'occasione o il desiderio di sposarsi presto. L'ultima ha uguali diritti della prima, non le pare? Essere sacrificati in nome di principi ormai superati non credo sia il modo più adatto a sviluppare l'amore fraterno e i buoni sentimenti.
Signorina Bennet, siete molto esplicita nell'esporre le vostre opinioni.
Sua signoria non ritiene giusto il momento per congedarci?
Tacete, sedete! Ci penserò io a mandarvi via quando sarà venuto il momento. Voglio fare una partita.
Mamma, vorrei chiederle il piacere di ritirarmi, sono un po' stanca.
No, non mi sembra affatto.
Temo anche di avere un po' di febbre.
Non dire sciocchezze. Stai benissimo. Tua madre sa sempre quello che fa. Resta ancora qui fin quando verrà il cugino Darcy. Va, cara, va a prendere le carte. Il ritardo di vostro cugino comincia a diventare insopportabile.
Ma insopportabile per chi?
Andiamo di là. Avanti.
Posso farle i miei complimenti, signorina?
Certo, anche se non immagino perché voglia farmeli.
Lei ha tenuto testa a mia zia in una maniera veramente sorprendente. Le assicuro che io non ho mai assistito a una schermaglia così emozionante.
Lady Catherine non ama molto essere contraddetta, vero?
No, al contrario, anzi lo detesta. E il guaio è che nessuno osa farlo, neppure mio cugino Darcy, che è pure il suo beniamino, e non è certo la dolcezza in persona.
Ah sì? Mi piacerebbe molto vedere sua zia metterla a posto come il pastore. Sedetevi, signor Darcy, tacete! Gli starebbe bene essere comandato a colpi di ventaglio.
Si direbbe che David non le sia molto simpatico.
Ad essere sincera, non molto.
Invece David ha tutt'altra opinione di lei.
Perché? Le ha parlato di me?
Ah sì, spesso. E con un tale entusiasmo che soltanto ora che l'ho vista posso riuscire a comprendere.
Impossibile. Se lei vuole essere galante con me, faccia pure, ma non coinvolga altre persone.
Ma io le assicuro che...
Ma cosa avrete mai da parlare tanto? Smettetela, no? Tanto più che da qui non riesco a sentire niente di quello che dite. E ciò mi è insopportabile. Venite piuttosto a giocare a posto del pastore che non sa.
No, perdonatemi, cara zia, ma io volevo chiedervi il permesso di accompagnare la signorina nel parco.
Nel parco? A quest'ora? Andate dove volete. Ecco, continuate a distrarmi. Tocca a voi, reverendo. Visto che cosa vuol dire non essere stata allevata da un'istitutrice?
Ora è lei che ha osato contraddirla.
Ma ci sono delle circostanze in cui vale la pena di correre qualche rischio.
Als ik het dus goed heb begrepen, komt uw vaders huis er goed na zijn overlijden aan dominee Collins. Ja. Al verheugt het me voor u, dominee, toch moet ik zeggen dat ik het over het algemeen onzinnig vind. De vrouwelijke lijn van een dergelijke erfenis uit te sluiten. In de familie van mijn echtgenoot Sir Lewis de Bourgh hield men zich gelukkig niet op met zulke dwaasheden. En juffrouw Bennet, hoe is het met de zang gesteld? En bespeelt u ook het een of ander instrument?
Een beetje op de piano. De zang mag nauwelijks enige naam hebben.
Dan zal het ons aangenaam zijn u straks eens te horen. Onze piano is stellig heel veel beter dan alle andere piano's die u ooit heeft getoucheerd. Het is werkelijk een magnifiek instrument, niet waar, Darcy? Meneer Darcy en ik zijn beide idolaat van muziek.
Meneer Darcy heeft al reeds met de povere kwaliteit van mijn spel kennis kunnen maken.
Oh ja?
Juffrouw Bennet en ik hebben elkaar een keer in Hertfordshire ontmoet.
Ach, wat jammer dat Georgiana Darcy vanavond niet hier is. Zij speelt verrukkelijk als een engel. Spelen en zingen uw zusters ook?
Eén van hen.
Waarom niet allemaal? De Mrs. Webb hier vlakbij hebben allemaal muzieklessen gehad en hun vader is er lang niet in zo'n goede doen als u. Tekent u?
Nee.
Wat? Tekent u niet? En uw zusters ook niet?
Helaas, geen lijntje.
Bizar. Mijn dochter en bijvoorbeeld tekent magnifiek. Ja, ze is bepaald zeer begaafd. Niet waar, Darcy? Heeft uw gouvernante dan nooit op deze zaken gelet?
Wij hebben nooit een gouvernante gehad.
Inderdaad, zeer bizar. Geen gouvernante. En zoveel dochters. Zomaar opgroeiend, als het ware in het wild.
En ieder die maar 2 woorden met juffrouw Bennet heeft gesproken, zal dit heftig moeten bestrijden, tante.
Ik ben aan het woord, Fitzwilliam. Hoe oud is uw jongste zuster, juffrouw Bennet?
16 jaar.
En zij gaat al uit. Bezoekt partijen en bals.
Inderdaad, mevrouw.
Enfin, familie is wijs. Familie is eer. In ons graafschap zouden ze eenvoudig niet op het idee komen een jongere dochter te presenteren als de ouderen nog niet zijn uitgehuwelijkt. Hoe oud bent u zelf?
Met 2 jongere zusters die al een leeftijd hebben bereikt waarop zij mij op de huwelijksmarkt enige concurrentie kunnen aandoen, kunt u niet verwachten dat ik u dit zal verraden.
Dwaasheid. U kunt geen dag ouder zijn dan 20. En dat is nog geen leeftijd om er doekjes om te winden. Hoe oud?
21. Bijna.
Tante zou ik nu met juffrouw Bennet mogen vragen iets voor ons te spelen.
Ja, dat is goed. Maar zachte muziek. Heel zachte muziek. De harde nootjes brengen de conversatie in gevaar. En ik heb nog wat te bepraten met dominee Collins. Dominee, ik ben van mening dat uw snijbonen het vorige seizoen een lengte hebben bereikt die onwelvoeglijk is.
Het spijt me maar.
Het siert de mens altijd zijn plaats te weten.
Het zou verre van mij zijn te willen wedijveren met de gewassen oplozings. Maar tot nu toe heeft uw hovenier mij steeds de teelt van snijbonen gelaten. En om die reden nooit zelf gekweekt. Ik heb achter deze welwillendheid steeds een goedgunstige wens vermoed.
En niet ten onrechte, maar helaas zie ik mij genoodzaakt op mijn vriendelijkheid terug te komen. De bonen zijn u naar het hoofd gestegen, dominee. De hovaardij waarmee u ze te pronk stelt, kan u innerlijk alleen maar schaden. Nederigheid, eerwaarde, is in uw ambt een deugd waarin men nimmer de vorm der ijdelheid mag laten komen. En hij knaagt reeds, dominee. Hij knaagt nu al zo terdege dat u alle mate uit het oog hebt verloren. Zulke snijbonen.
Wanneer u besluit om op de komende tuinbouwtentoonstelling snijbonen van Rozings te laten inzenden, dan zal ik mij geheel terugtrekken.
Terugtrekken hoeft niet. Als u maar zorgt dat ze de afmetingen hebben die passen bij uw maatschappelijke positie. En dan gun ik u van harte de 2e prijs.
Nee. Vergeef me.
Mevrouw Collins, wat heeft u maar? Ik mag aannemen dat deze ontkenning wartaal is.
Hoogmoed komt voor de val. Maar wanneer iemand dan zojuist in de diepte is gestart, mag men hem enige ontzetting toch niet euvel derven.
Nee, ik bedoel geen 2e prijs, dan trek ik mijn snijbonen liever geheel terug.
Zoals u wilt, dominee. Wij leven hier in een vrij land.
U verbleef in Londen, meneer Darcy?
Inderdaad.
Mijn zuster logeerde daar enige weken. Heeft u haar niet ontmoet?
Ik heb niet het genot mogen smaken uw zuster te ontmoeten. Nee.
Als ik het wel heb, heeft mejuffrouw Bingley haar eens bezocht. Maar haar broeder niet. Het is toch wel goed met hem? Niet ziek of zo?
De laatste keer dat ik hem in Londen ontmoette was hij nog gezond.
Kent u dit reeds, mejuffrouw Bennet?
Oh ja, dat ken ik.
Darcy's lievelingsmuziek. Ik waarschuw, hij zal u bekritiseren.
Laat hij zijn gang maar gaan. Het zou mij spijten als hij zijn natuur enig geweld aan deed. En dat om mijnentwege.
Laat mijn aanwezigheid u verder niet storen.
Do you
play and sing, Miss Bennet?
A little.
Oh, then sometime or other we shall be happy to hear you. Mr. Bourgh would have been the most delightful performer, had her health ever permitted her to learn. Do your sisters play and sing?
One of them does.
Why did you not all learn? The Miss Webbs all play, and their father has not so good an income as yours. Do you draw?
No, not at all.
What? None of you?
Not one.
How very strange. Your mother should have taken you to town every spring for the benefit of the master.
My mother would have had no objection, but my father hates London.
Has your governess left you?
We never had a governess.
No governess? Then who taught you? Your mother must have been quite a slave to your education.
Indeed, ma'am, I can assure you that was not the case.
Oh. Why did you not order us out, Miss Bennet?
Yes, ma'am, all of them.
What? All four at once? Mr. Bourgh is not out? The younger one's out before the elder are married. Very odd.
Really, ma'am, I think it would be very hard on younger sisters that they should not have their share of amusement in society, because the elder may not have the means nor the inclination to marry early.
Upon my word, you give your views very confidently for one so young. Pray, what is your age?
With two younger sisters out, your ladyship can hardly expect me to own it.
You cannot be more than 20, I'm sure. Therefore, you need not conceal your age.
I am not 21.
Mr. Darcy and Colonel Fitzwilliam.
Come in, Darcy. Come in.
Good evening, ma'am. Cousin Anne, good evening. It is extremely kind of you to receive us so late, ma'am.
Oh, delighted.
The roads are most treacherous after the rain.
Nephew Fitzwilliam, the uniform becomes you well. Sit down, both of you, and tell me the news.
You have guests, ma'am.
Do not trouble yourself on their account, nephew. The country provides but poor society at this time of the year. Where is your regiment now, Fitzwilliam?
At Northampton, ma'am.
Good evening, madam. Sir William. It is an unexpected pleasure to find you at Rosings, Miss Elizabeth.
The name is Collins, sir. William Collins. I had the honour of making your acquaintance 11 weeks ago last Tuesday at Netherfield Park. I am the incumbent of this parish. Lady Catherine de Bourgh is my patroness, and any nephew of Lady Catherine's, as I know you to be, sir, is worthy of the utmost deference from Mrs. Collins and myself.
Do you intend to stay long at Hunsford, Miss Elizabeth?
5 or 6 weeks, or possibly longer, if Mrs. Collins can bear with me.
Mrs. Collins would be foolish to let you go.
I shall keep her here as long as I am able.
Darcy, what do you say? Are you acquainted with Miss Bennet? Are you sure of it?
I am, ma'am.
Then come and sit by me and tell me the news of London.
Miss Elizabeth, forgive me. I will be back.
Tell me, Darcy, is His Majesty's health at all improved? The symptoms as described to me put me in mind of the illness of the late Sir Pelham de Bourgh. I can recommend the most eminent physician.
And how do you like Kent, Miss Bennet?
I like it very much.
Sir, you talk of Kent. I have always considered that of all the counties in England, Kent deserves, nay, wears the crown. And the brightest jewel in that crown is, of course, your revered aunt and my patroness, Lady Catherine de Bourgh.
Admirable sentiment, dutifully expressed.
A most obliging young man, have you? What were you saying, Darcy?
Mrs. Collins, you will often have noted the perfection of the beef served at my table. Never accept from the butcher anything but young flesh, with a fine, smooth grain and the fat white. If yellow, the beast has been fed on corn cake. Now look to it, and do not leave the servants to deal with the butcher. They are a cunning race. I hear from the laundress that you are troubled with red ants. Green sage in every closet will make them disappear. And your hens are off-lay. You must give them half an ounce of fresh meat each, finely chopped once a day as the weather grows cold, and allow no cocks to run with them, and they will lay perpetually.
You will see to it, Charlotte. So infinitely kind and knowledgeable.
Darcy, you seem pale. You left too much food upon your plate. So much may be considered sensibility, the rest must be considered waste. I myself have a remarkable appetite. Why, only yesterday Lady Metcalfe complimented me upon it. I follow Dr. Beerhave's rules for preserving health, and so does my daughter Anne, whose constitution is naturally delicate. A pleasant thing in a girl. Do you not agree, Darcy? I rise early and never sit up late. Wash the whole body every morning in cold water by means of a large sponge. Drink water generally. Keep the body open, keep the head cool at all times, and never eat a hearty supper, especially of animal food.
So much perspicacity.
Mr. Collins, I hear you are growing a new variety of large cantaloupe melon in your hotbed. It will not do. The ordinary small oblong kind is good enough for me, and of excellent flavour. Why, only last year I was able to gather melons in May, and cucumbers in February. Do you have brothers, Miss Bennet?
No.
Oh, what a misfortune. You cannot all be girls.
Yes.
But not many.
There are 5 of us.
What can your mother have been thinking of? Had I had more than one child, they would have been boys, and remarkably well favoured. As is my daughter, Mr. Bourgh. Is she not, Darcy? Mr. Darcy certainly believes so. Mr. Bourgh draws remarkably well. Do you draw, Miss Bennet?
No, not at all.
Do you play and sing?
A little.
Sometime or other we shall be happy to hear you. Our instrument is a capital one. Do your sisters play and sing?
3 of them do.
You ought all to have learned.
My sister Jane plays tolerably well. Do you not think so, Mr. Darcy? Mr. Darcy knows Jane well through his friend, Mr. Bingley, and her friend, Miss Bingley. Jane has been in London these 3 months. Have you never happened to see her there?
Why, no, I have not been so fortunate.
And undergardeners. Mark the windows. There are 64 in all, 64, and I have it on good authority that the glazing alone originally cost in excess of £600.
It is a very handsome building, prettily situated, sir, and by no means lacking in windows.
Do not make yourself uneasy, my dear cousin, about your apparel. Lady Catherine is far from requiring that elegance of dress in us which becomes herself and her daughter. She will not think the worse of you for being simply dressed. She likes to have the distinction of rank preserved.
Thank you, Mr. Collins. That is a great comfort.
An apothecary will serve your needs quite adequately. And make sure it be no one but Nicholson, Mrs. Collins. I shall be extremely angry if I hear that you have gone elsewhere.
I assure you I have no intention to, Lady Catherine.
No, indeed, no intention at all.
Well, your friend appears to be quite a genteel, pretty sort of girl, Mrs. Collins. Her father's estate is entailed on Mr. Collins, I understand.
Yes, ma'am, and I am, believe me.
Do you have brothers and sisters, Miss Bennet?
Yes, ma'am, I am the second of 5 sisters.
Are any of your younger sisters out?
Yes, ma'am, all of them.
All? What? All 5 out at once? The younger ones out before the older are married? Your youngest sisters must be very young.
Yes, ma'am, my youngest is not 16.
Well,
she is full young to be out much in company. But really, Mum, I think it would be very hard upon younger sisters that they not have their share of society and amusement simply because their elder sisters have not the means or inclination to marry early. Sir William, wouldn't you agree?
Well... Upon my word, you give your opinion very decidedly for so young a person. Pray, what is your age?
With 3 younger sisters grown up, your ladyship can hardly expect me to own it.
Miss Bennet, you cannot be more than 20, I'm sure. Therefore, there is no need to conceal your age.
I am not 21.
Mrs. Collins, did I tell you Lady Betcalf's calling on me yesterday to thank me for sending her Miss Pope? Lady Catherine, said she, you have given me a treasure. Yes. Yes.
So you are Elizabeth Bennet?
I am, your ladyship.
This is my daughter.
It's very kind of you to
The
ask
rub
us
alone
to dine,
cost
Lady
upwards of
Catherine.
£300.
Mr. Darcy? What are you doing here?
Mr. Darcy, I had no idea we had the honour.
Miss Elizabeth, I'm a guest here.
You know my nephew?
Yes, Ma'am. I had the pleasure of meeting your nephew in Hertfordshire.
Mr. Collins, you can't sit next to your wife. Move. Over there. Harvey, I wonder, could you get me a fresh course? I don't think there are...
I trust your family is in good health, Miss Elizabeth.
They are, thank you. My eldest sister is currently in London. Perhaps you happen to see her there.
I haven't been fortunate enough,
You
no.
play the pianoforte, Miss Bennet?
A little, Ma'am, and very poorly.
Oh. You draw?
No, not at all.
Your sisters, do they draw?
Not one.
It's very strange. I suppose you had no opportunity. Your mother should have taken you to town every spring for the benefit of the masters.
I'm sure my mother wouldn't have minded, but my father hates town.
Has your governess left you?
We never had a governess.
No governess? 5 daughters brought up at home without a governess. I never heard such a thing. Your mother must have been quite a slave to your education.
Not at all, Lady Catherine.
Your younger sisters, are they out in society?
Yes, Ma'am, all.
All? Would all 5 out at once? Oh, that's very odd. And you only the second. The younger ones out before the eldest are married. Your youngest sisters must be very young.
Yes, my youngest is not 16. But I think it would be very hard on younger sisters not to have their share of amusement because the elder is still unmarried. It would hardly encourage sisterly affection.
Upon my word, you give your opinion very decidedly for so young a person. Pray, what is your age?
With 3 younger sisters grown up, your ladyship can hardly expect me to own to it.